Now let's see if we have audio. I'm gonna get a call any second now. Go ahead, you're live.
Mr. Tudor, how are you today?
There's no Mr. Tudor here.
Mr. Tudor, don't be silly.
There's no Mr. Tudor here. There's no Mr. Tudor.
Yeah, right.
Look, Major Meathead, I was just heading for bed. You sound like you're heavily under the influence of something. Have you been doing any drugs or alcohol in the last few hours?
Mr. Tudor,
I asked you a question. Have you been doing drugs and alcohol? You sound very, very stoned.
Mr. Tudor, come outside.
There's nobody outside. You aren't even in Tucson. Is there anything else you'd like to bother me with?
Stop smoking, man. Not good for you.
I do believe you're the one that's been smoking meth.
Mr. Tudor.
There's no Mr. Tudor here.
Mr. Tudor, the meth is messing up your brain.
Are you talking to me about yourself? The meth is definitely messing up your brain. You are very, very stoned and you're tweaking right now. Is there anything else you want to say to me?
You can't be stoned and twag at the same time. Don't be silly.
You're tweaked. You're fucked up. Is there anything else you want from me? I really was heading for bed.
Get outside now.
Fuck off.
You
Good,
bastard.
but you're not out there. There's no reason to. And there you have it. I can't block private numbers because people call me on private numbers that need to call me on private numbers from law enforcement agencies and things. Oh, hey, Milton. I was headed for bed. That fucking dipshit that says he's sitting outside in a what? When I haven't had any like desire to be streaming. Just I was headed for bed. I'm not really in the mood to be like up all night talking shit with people here either. I mean, since a friend is here, I'll hang out and see what anybody has to say. Maybe read a few things. I'm blocked at Facebook again on my public account for the most ridiculous thing I've seen yet. Caitlin Johnstone. I should just go and read all that. This is fucking crazy. It's totally fucking crazy. Here's Caitlin Johnstone is like a real radical leftist journalist in Australia. I really like her stuff. I mean, she's just so right on so often about like the deception of the Democrats and the neoliberal fascism of the left in America. And she says, "Give me one loud profanity slinging leftist appealing to the people in an interesting and engaging way that everyone can understand, over 1,000 overeducated snobs putting people to sleep with dry and esoteric Marxist university jargon." So I'm like, okay, cool. I was real insulting. I called her a savage Aussie bitch, but I was, applauding her and saying, yeah, I maybe I could qualify for profanity slinging leftist, but I'm not sure if what I am is like really authentic left. Yeah, what do you want? I can't hear you.
Is this Tommy J?
Oh, this isn't the idiot. This is someone else. Do we have a different idiot, or do we have like a realistic person that is going to be interesting to talk to?
No. Like I said, I thought that you went live. And is this your number?
This is my number, yes.
You have a very beautiful back. You have a better camera. Your camera looks a lot better tonight.
Oh, this is a Logitech 9000 I picked up a few months ago.
Well, I thought they have it pretty, and you should continue to read. But can I respond to you while you read like news articles and stuff?
Oh, sure. Is there anything you'd like to talk about in particular? I was kind of raging about why I'm blocked at Facebook right now.
Yeah, when I tuned into you were talking about like you sounded very anti-woke.
Anti-who?
Anti-woke, like the whole like woke impulse and culture to call out everybody for being problematic and anti-racism,
Oh, well, that woke is contrary to the woke of the 60s hippie. That cancel culture bullshit. That's hippies are about let it be. If you don't like it, don't look.
Okay, well, how do somebody like you, as an old hippie, how do you deal with the guilt that you helped birth this shit world we now live in?
I had nothing to do with it, man. I'm a blacklisted life scientist. I was kicked to the curb. I was denied a career with the government that I had trained for all my life because they never expanded the programs. And I wasn't about to fly.
What are you supposed to do for the
I'm
government?
an ecosystem engineer. I grow things.
What was your job going to be in the government? What were you supposed to do?
I trained all my life for the astronaut aquanaut program that never got fucking expanded. When I went to enlist, they wanted to make me a surface warfare officer, naval flight officer, and didn't have any kind of billets remotely connected to what I had studied. I went into medicine for a while because there was nothing in fisheries at the time for anybody with a bachelor's. And I went into medical research, and I couldn't stand the animal torture, and I got kicked to the curb. And the hippies rescued me, and here I am.
Yeah, there's that picture of you in the 60s in Chicago.
That's from the 1990s. The picture in the chair, wearing a beret, side shot, sitting in a chair.
No, it's like old school, like 1960s yearbook photo. Did you go to college in the 60s?
I was. There's a yearbook photo from me in 1973. My graduation high school photo in 1973, and my college graduation photo in 78 that are publicly available. I'll get to the election deal. I'm not sure we're out of the woods on that yet, man. So anyway, go on. I'm sorry. I was kind of talking to Millet in the chatter.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, like, it's gotta be weird to have people post those pictures of you when you're living as a male in the 60s and being part of an influential Jewish family in Chicago.
Well, first of all, I'm not transsexual, okay? And I'm not transgender in the way that most people are accustomed to transgender people who are non-operative either. I'm a two-spirit. I'm a bigender person. My dominant gender is female. But there's a line that we cross when I'm getting jammed, and I just call it a Tom moment, where people are insisting on relating to me as male, and they're pissing me off. So I'm giving them male energy back. And it's not me. It's not the natural me at all. So it's not the same. I'm very conservative sexually. I'm heterosexual and monogamous when it comes to permanent pair bonding, but I'm kind of pan if it comes to just rolling around and having fun. I don't care. It's more about the hugs and kisses than anything else to me, if it's just for fun. Um, so what else? What else can I tell you?
Sorry, I was taking my pizza poppers out of the oven.
Through what?
Pizza poppers?
Mr. Poppers? What are those?
No, pizza. You know,
Oh.
Italian pizza.
Pizza. I've already done all the eating I want to do today. I was headed for bed.
The cooking video of yours where you made black bean burgers.
You like the black bean burgers?
Yeah.
What did I make? I made barbecue shrimp this week. I didn't film it though. I just took some pictures. A New Orleans style barbecue shrimp.
Tommy, can I ask you a question?
Well, you can ask all sorts of questions. Whether I'll answer them or not depends on the question. God, what a mess I'm filthy.
Fair enough. But you're super interesting because you're super. You have like a big group of people supposedly. You know, I'm looking at constantly.
I'm not sure what you mean by I'm not following you. Say what?
I just think it would drive somebody insane to have this group of strangers who you don't know constantly fucking with you.
Oh, they think they're, yeah, well, see, they think that they're actually getting to me, and they don't. I'm usually laughing if I'm acting, if I'm writing pissed, the more pissed I look, the funnier I think it is. I pay very little attention to these people, actually. You know, I have a very rich and full life without anybody, just with what you see around me. I've never had a lot of friends or very close friends because either I can't stand being around them or they can't stand being around me for more than short doses. I haven't had a yard dog for real things in the Hippie Haven for over 20 years because that's been able to last longer than 30 days. Either they can't handle me or I can't take their shit. They're not nowhere near productive enough and they're in the way and give me a hard time about shit and I run them off. And you can't make a crazy person insane. It just doesn't work. You know, no matter how hard these insane people try, they will never make me insane because I'm too crazy. Are those eating? Is that eating noises or typing noises I'm hearing?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
What the hell is happening in this stream? What is even happening? I was headed for bed. I'm Tommy Jane Tudor, the whistleblower from Chicago. I live in Tucson now. I'm an old rainbow hippie that a lot of people like to lie about. Okay, I'm just a crazy old hippie, blacklisted life scientist who's been on the road for the last 40 years, and I'm just up because some asshole troll kept calling me. As far as let's talk about the election since my friend asked about that. First off, I think that Donald Trump is a made man. That he has been groomed by the Jewish mob for 40 years since Roy Cohn bailed him out after he lost the first $1 million of his father's. And what we've witnessed, and it's not over yet, it's nowhere near over yet, What we're witnessing is a hostile takeover attempt by the Zionist ultra-right wing. Their billionaire CEOs and megachurch pastors are right up behind them. And this has been coming at us for 40 years now, since Reagan slashed the corporate taxes. Now, fascism is defined as industrial oligarchy, which is what the Republic of the United States has always been, regardless of what they want to tell you about it. It's always been an oligarchy. It's always been a corporate oligarchy. It's all it's ever been. The same fucking Rothschild Morgan crowd. They financed everything since middle 1700s. And that's the way it is. And what we're witnessing is Trump and his billionaire buckaroo bonzos decided they're going to try and take it over and clean out the swamp and bring in their own swamp monsters. And it just wasn't, it's doomed to failure. And he's like having trouble. Now, Biden, the only reason Biden won, if it were not for the queer and indigenous leaders begging the people and promising them that we'd stay after Biden, that's the only way we could get the vote out for him. Because the DNC would have lost bad if it wasn't for the independent voters. Bernie stayed behind him. In 2016, Bernie got all wishy-washy and didn't really get all that behind Hillary. And
I
so
don't understand, Tommy, I don't understand how anyone is actually participating in party politics at this point.
Oh, really? Absolutely. You see what AOC says about,
look at this so-called stimulus bill that just got passed.
Oh, you mean the one where Joel Osteen got $4.5 million for his church, and we only get $600 if we qualify?
It's bullshit. Everybody knows this is bullshit, and this is happening at the same time that we've all come around to realize that the true religion of the United States should be anti-racism.
Absolutely. This nation was founded on a notion of liberty and justice for all, that all men are created equal. But it was, but then right there.
Not for this warped intersectional bullshit narrative.
Well, that's why I got a problem with the cancel culture. It's like, hey, look, my oppressor is your oppressor, and I'm sorry you don't like my jargon. It's like, oh, well, okay, so you're the political thought police commissioner, political correctness thought police commissioner. It's like, fuck that shit. I'm sorry. I come from a time when it was okay for Jews and black people and Polacks and them to tell each other Jew and black and Polack jokes. I can go listen to some of the black comics talking using the N-word and how they use the N-word. If the stereotype's real and the word fits, you can't ban the word. You're not going to make the behavior go away by banning the word. It's a big part of politically incorrect humor is in terms of being the shock value.
Demonstration of power.
Well, it's the shock value of the humor that gets through to the brain dead to get them to understand by making the irony so great that they have to see it.
Okay, so what do you think about the 90s when Marilyn Manson was chanting "We hate love, we love hate," and
I was on the road.
Was putting out Natural Born Killers in your neck of the woods. A lot of that movie takes place in the American Southwest, where you live, Tommy.
Right. Yeah. I totally am in the 90s, from 1982 until 1999. If I didn't see you live, I didn't see you. I was on the road. And Marilyn Manson was not part of my trip. I was, part of the Woodstock crowd. I was around, bands like Grateful Dead and the Winters Brothers.
You knew Ken Kesey. In your last episode, you mentioned that you knew Ken Kesey.
I didn't know him. I was at the Dylan and the Dead concert at the Anaheim Stadium, just coming on to hear some really powerful shit. And
Okay, wait. What concert? Can you repeat that?
Dylan and the Dead at Anaheim Stadium in July of 1986. I was on the field just coming on to some really strong shit, and all the merry pranksters and old school, HA kind of deadhead folk were all gathered in the center of the field about 50 feet from the apron, heckling Dylan. and
in the 80s, in
1986, everybody's heckling Dylan because he was so fucking fucked up, and the band had been playing so strong. They smoked. The second set was just fucking amazing, right? And so like all the old heads are gathered in the middle of the field laughing at Dylan, and Jerry went and Dylan did a couple of tunes, and then he tried to bust into All Along the Watchtower, and Jerry twisted the chords, and Dylan's hand fell off the guitar, and he turned around to look and see what Jerry was up to, and Jerry twisted the lyrics on him when he did it, and Dylan's mouth fell open, and we're all busting out laughing at that, cheering. So he's screaming at that one, and in the course of that somewhere, this fellow walked up to me with a big grin on his face. We made eye contact, and I was like, you look familiar, man. And while we're just standing there grinning at each other, and neither one of us said anything. We were just like listening to everything that's going on around us. Neither one of us said anything. I'm watching it, we're looking at each other. And this was only in the course of a few seconds. I mean, it's just a brief encounter, right? I saw these green hands come out of our chests and shake. I didn't actually meet him. It was just like a brief encounter where our spirits connected.
Wow, that sounds.
It was.
I've been in the same room as Bob Dylan.
Say again?
Sure. I've been in the same room as Bob Dylan as well. After 9/11. It was 2001. It wasn't 1980.
What did you think of Dylan?
But I've seen Bob Dylan live. And it was bullshit. I mean,
Dylan.
He deserves the right to do whatever he wants to do, but
Dylan's a heroin user, and he's not a nice person. I never actually met him, but I saw him working his way through the crowd in 1989 at Woodstock, and he's not a nice guy.
You mean 1969?
No, I was there in 1989 for the first time. It was the 20th reunion. It was a great concert, one of the best concerts, the best festival I ever went to anywhere. It was 2 weeks of it. The 20th, yeah. Well, I was there from the 20th through the 50th.
Where was this at? Never heard of this festival. What was it?
At the original site in Bethel, New York. It's been turned into a concert venue, with outdoor concert venue with the real stage and shit. But it was just a cow pasture in Bethel, in Sullivan County near Monticello, just toward between Monticello and the river, and they've had a reunion there every year since. And for the 20th, they decided they were going to do it up big, and they put this word of mouth thing out there into the stream, and we followed it from the West Coast all the way there. It was a great show, and Dylan was there. He didn't even play. He didn't even get on stage. He was just there hanging out, moving through the crowd, being an asshole. Melanie, 1989. 99 was the 30th, and I was there for that, and that was the last one I've been at.
Well, don't forget 1994. There was 1994 too.
That was a pretty funny year.
And 9 Inch Nails.
Well, in 1994, there were Michael Lang put something on in, I think, Troy, New York, a big show, and then the indie crowd put on several things, and that was the first year that Roy and Gerald Abramson had bought Max Yasker's original farmhouse, which is just a few miles down the road from, it's not far from the original pasture. And they were holding they held the 25th, the big indie celebration. There's been a reunion of the locals every year. And there was this big conflict of interest between the actual, the professional promoters and the indie promoters. And the local beer distributor guy bought Yasker's farm, and the indie guys put their show on there. I was at that one, and several in between 1989 and 1999. I haven't been back since, though. But that's pretty much what I was, I was traveling in a triangle from 1989 to 1999 between South Florida, where my family lived, out here where the gemstone business was, and go back through the Midwest. This is weed.
South Florida? Your parents moved to South Florida?
My grandmother and uncle lived down there. My parents live up in Wisconsin with where my sister lives.
You're Jewish as fuck.
Say what?
You are Jewish as fuck. You are Jewish as fuck, Tommy.
Well, yeah.
That's fine.
Well, we're a military-industrial family, a non-combatant type military-industrial family. We got a lot of architects and engineers in the family. My family was in the sewing business, and that's just what we are. So what? Hey.
Nothing to say. It's just I give you lots of respect. I respect you a lot because you acknowledge this difference. You acknowledge yourself as a spiritual Jew and not like a conniving Jew.
I thank you. I'm very proud of my upbringing. I was one of the last students of a prominent rabbi named Louis Binstock, who was one of Elmer Berger's associates in forming the anti-Zionist voice of the Reform Jews, an organization called American Council for Judaism, ACJ. Was Dr. Binstock, and he was an omnist who encouraged a lot of interfaith study and worship. It's like go to the worship services. Just think of it as from your Jewish perspective. And the Jewish businessmen, I was who were my parents, my family, and our friends. These were not chiseling fuckheads. These were like people with light manufacturing businesses that paid a fair wage, and people could make a decent living with them. That our help. And this is a non-union shop. That they were there working their fucking asses off all day. We had to chase them out. They'd be waiting for us in the morning to open. A lot of them worked right through lunch. And constantly, in that sewing factory, it's like we got hundreds of sewing machines. It'd be like all day, all fucking day.
Tommy, I'm confused about your American life story, your family's American life story. So they originally made their money in textiles?
We have numerous branches of the family. My father's family, it's hard to describe because it's a very complex we're two ancient clans. My mother's clan are the descendants of Aaron, and they were religious people on the mother's side, and industrial. They were Frumiyid. They were Orthodox Jews on my mother's side, on my mother's side, and her father was a Reformed German industrialist. who totally like broke this extra set of dishes as soon as his father-in-law died. It's like, okay, we're done. And then on my father's side, my paternal great-grandfather was apparently the son of a village rabbi who was the sole survivor of a pogrom when he was very young. And he grew,
when did that pogrom take place?
oh, in the 1880s. Sometime. I don't know the exact dates. I need to research that kind of stuff. I don't know enough about him. Nobody on my father's side really kept up the family trees as well as my mother and her sister did. So there's a lot that I don't know about Julius Wasserberg because there's nothing to know about him. And there's not a whole lot more that the family really recorded about Alexander Singer, except the records are more clear because they were he and his son did some pretty notable things. He was a dentist and a Holstein cattle breeder, and his son was a MD, PhD, who is the one who discovered nonoxynol for orthochemical. That's the world's largest selling spermicide. On my mother's side, a lot of architects and engineers, electrical engineers, architects. Max Lowenberg was second tier kind of guy after people like Mies van der Rohe and Frank Lloyd Wright. He's there. If you Google Jewish, Chicago Jewish architects, Max will show up in there. There were a lot.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that your family has so many great men and women?
Well, we weren't all that great. We were being Jews. There's nobody. Max Lowenberg is probably the most notable person in my family. The only person that really has any claim to fame in the history books. But I have a lot of other, we have a lot of electrical engineers, IT professional engineers in the family that did noteworthy things, but, nothing for, newsworthy. Uncle Max was the only one, and my father to a degree, for some of the things that he did over the years, like sell Hugh Hefner the first Playboy bunny costume. But we're being Jews. Nobody did anything really terribly exciting and world shaking. We were doing what Jews are supposed to do: is live according to God's law and be useful to society in our careers. So,
tell me, your ancestors possessed a primordial Zionism within the United States.
Well, I think I understand. You can't take. The thing of it, the primordial Zionism is kind of a cool thought. The Zionism in the United States, the political and religious Zionism that has manifested itself into the industrial fascist Zionist project in occupied Palestine, actually originated with Adam Weishaupt and Rothschilds with the Illuminati in 1776, and it spread out through the apocalyptic Christians into the Messianic Jews in the mid-19th century. And at the end of the 19th century, Theodor Herzl come along, and he was a fucking racist atheist, internal anti.
Who is he racist against?
Theodor Herzl, the author of Der Judenstaat, which is considered the foundation of political Zionism.
But who is he racist against? Arabs?
The whole chauvinistic nationalist viewpoint of Zionists began with Herzl, and they're godless, and they're white supremacists. They're just Jewish style white supremacists. That's all they are. You look at Israel today. I don't even like to call it Israel. You look at occupied Palestine and what the Zionists are doing there. They ran off 50,000 of the Mizrahi Jews in the Nakba in 1948. 8 of them got murdered at Sabra and Shatila. So, today, if you're an Arabic Jew and you want to make it in Israel, you ditch that fucking Arabic clothing real quick.
said, Tommy, you're so naive. That Christian, Israeli Jew, Christian, Israeli Palestinian, I forget what she said exactly.
What do you think of white nationalists? What do you think Pat Robertson is? What do you think all these white nationalists, all these MAGA, that's Zionism, that's Christian Zionism you're looking at. There's more Christian Zionists than Jews. And the Jews have resisted, Jews have historically been opposed to what the Zionists are doing in Palestine. Totally.
Yeah, Jews will still move into the West Bank because it's cheaper rent. Let's get real here.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about the social hierarchy. The Arabic Jews are only a notch above the Arabic Gentiles, as far as the Ashkenazi Jews are concerned.
First of all,
and I've had that firsthand. I heard it firsthand in 1977. I heard this shit firsthand in 1977 from a Mizrahi Jew who was our guide. I 2 weeks I sat and listened to this guy. Okay, and
did you visit Israel, Tommy?
Yeah, in 1977, the family went on a 5-star tour. It was kind of like, I guess, my father's wedding present to my brother and sister-in-law. 1977. We went on a 2-week 5-star tour, and we had
5 years after?
Right, 5 years after the Yom Kippur War.
Yeah.
And and right as the wave of Soviet Jews, I mean, here we are in the States, fucking demonstrating free the Soviet Jews. Literally, you know what they were going to do when they got to Palestine. And that's what was going on there. My friends in that period there were some kibbutzim that were Kfar Hanasi, and what was the other one? Hillel, kibbutz Hillel, maybe, I forget. But there were some that were started up by American Jews, and nobody I know lasted more than 2 years. They couldn't take it. It was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, the whole kibbutz thing is already like a pioneer history.
Oh yeah, they're gone.
It's racist. It doesn't belong anymore.
Do you know the story of Sderot and Huj and Naj? That's a really fucking sick one.
No, what is that? I don't know.
Well, Sderot is the town that all the rockets are aimed at. Okay. And the rockets are just like, homemade. They don't hardly carry any explosive payload at all. They gotta fucking hit you to hurt you. And I mean, they don't have enough to blow up their own casings most times. Now there is a problem because Hezbollah has been smuggling in some good shit that's got the Israelis upset. They hit a bus with an anti-tank weapon like minutes after the whole crew had emptied off of it, just to let them know they had it. and then there was another one that Hezbollah, a little more accurate and got a bigger payload rocket that they got a couple of them to them. They fucked up some houses and Tel Aviv with. But otherwise, they're just cat piss powered like bottle rockets, right? And they've only killed 30 people in 20 years since 2000, I guess, and since the Intifada, they've only killed 30 people with them. And the Israelis regularly drop a single 1,000-pounder.
That's the thing about the Intifada, Tommy. It's a complete joke. There's no way that the Palestinians can possibly win against Israel.
Well, see, the Palestinians I know have the good sense to be approaching it from nonviolently. Okay, I have nothing to do with any of the like really extremist Palestinians.
Non-violence is being banned, Tommy. It is illegal to join boycott, divest, sanction BDS. It is illegal to be part of that.
I don't know what they're doing in there. I don't pay too much attention to it. Actually, I'm more, I'm an anti-Zionist American Jew that kind of keeps an eye out for like people telling the truth, and because like the Zionists are telling a history that is not real, and I mean that Jerusalem existed 1,000 years before Abraham even showed up. And the Jews were now, even when they ruled it.
What does Jerusalem mean to you? You've been to Jerusalem, right?
Yerushalayim shel zahav, v'shel nechoshek v'shel or. Oh, l'chol shirayach, ani kinor.
You've been to Jerusalem.
I've been to Jerusalem. I prayed at the wall. I got chased out of the Al-Aqsa Gardens by some Arabs because a taxi driver pranked me and dropped me at the wrong gate before it was open. And the guy, it's the most.
Tell me about the time you went to Jerusalem.
Oh, it was a wonderful experience. You'll love the story. Like I said, it was. I'm pretty sure it had something to do with my brother and sister-in-law's wedding present, and we all went to Israel. I hate using that word because Israel was a person, not a place. And but anyway, we all went on this 5-star tour when we were staying in the fucking Hiltons and everything. $17 Sundays. It started out, we went down. We didn't go all the way to Gaza. We didn't get past Yad Mordechai, where the battle happened, which is just north of Gaza. Up at the coast, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Tel Aviv is where we spent the first week. And then we went up west, up north through Haifa and Sfat and Haifa and into the Galil, and then back down through the Jordan Valley and across the that Allenby Bridge or whatever the fuck it is there, that into Jerusalem from the east. And we got there in the evening, and I had been studying with the Rebbe's nephew, a guy named Lazer Rifkin. He was Menachem Schneerson's nephew, and I had a prayer that he had asked me to insert in the wall for him, and I was anxious to get there. I mean, it had been burning a hole in my pocket for like 5-6 days before we even got to Jerusalem.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Go.
I think it's really cool how when I'm listening to your story about going to Jerusalem, you spoke about the actual journey. I think that's really fucking cool.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I haven't gotten to.
Classic.
Oh, it's a beautiful story. It was just one of the most. I really appreciate you asking for it because it was a wonderful story. The whole thing. That's what happened. We got in late, and it was too late to go to the wall, and nobody was. I was up at the crack of dawn, ready to go pray, right? And nobody was ready to go. So it was like, okay, we'll meet you later when we get up. And I got in a taxi cab, and it was an Egyptian driver, and I think he thought it'd be funny to drop me at the Dung Gate instead of the Lions Gate. And I could feel, I could just feel where the wall was, and started walking toward it, and through the gardens to the mosque. And all of a sudden, all these Arabs come rushing at me, screaming, waving rakes and shit in my face. And a guy in a red and white keffiyeh come walking up that spoke English. Told him, I speak English. I'll take care of this. And he introduced himself, and we went for a walk through the shuk. He took me back out through there, and we walked down through the shuk, and we had some tea and biscuits.
What did they say to you, Tommy? What did they say?
I have no idea. They were screaming at me. Well, they weren't open yet. It was before opening time. I shouldn't have been there at all, is what he told me.
Yeah, if you want to ascend to the temple in the mount, you have to buy a ticket.
Right. I'd come in through the workman's gate that tourists aren't supposed to come in through. Is what happened.
But then again, Tommy, this is in the 80s. That's why I love you.
This was 1977. This is 1977. And of all the people we met in Israel, besides the I did all the Israelis, I called them that then. I call them Zionists now. They're all mean, short with us, rude. It's like throw your.
They were in the process of building a country.
Yeah, right. Well, they weren't real.
Israel was just mini America. Israel is mini America.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was Rothschild's personal toy, is what it really was. Here the Rothschilds and Morgan and them collaborated on colonizing the world, but those were all secular. And the Rothschilds wanted their little Jewish toy, and you can see if you follow the history close enough that they their designs on Jerusalem were published in the 1820s in newspapers. Their first purchases were of real estate were the beachheads at Ashdod, Jaffa, and Haifa, and you can just see it. The Lord Rothschild was bragging about it during the 100th anniversary of the Balfour Declaration. And you just see it was this Rothschild's toy. There's only 16 families that own 60% of the industrial base in that country. Did you know that?
What is the industrial base? Is the industrial base mostly Chinese?
Well, they're got a real serious electronic securities business going, and they're selling a lot of weapons. They're using Gaza as the fucking proving ground. Marketing tool is what they're doing in Gaza.
Why doesn't anybody care about what's happening in Asia anymore? When coronavirus first started, we were watching fake videos on the internet about coronavirus. And now we're watching fake videos brought to you by the Chinese government showing, parties in all the major cities in China. What? I
don't know. I have.
This West needs the vaccine and China doesn't. Why not? What's the difference?
I'm not. I don't know. I honestly I don't know. I'm up to my eyeballs just keeping up with what's going on here, and I'm kind of behind in that too because I've got some personal issues that I have to really attend to, and I'm probably gonna let it all fall away in the next 30 days, and then just I don't know. I think the ones to watch and wonder about are the Koreans and the Japanese. The Japanese have been using masks for decades. The whole it's such a complex mess because on the one hand, there's so much disinformation, and so much distortion of the facts. Oh yeah, it's got a 99.9% survival rate. Well, that's fucking great, but when certain demographics get hit with it, there's a 70% mortality rate.
Okay, but tell me, can you acknowledge that may have something to do with genetic differences?
Well, no, it seems to have something to do with preventative medicine and nutrition. They're finding that like 80% of.
It could also have something to do with vitamin D.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Is people are less likely to be able to produce vitamin D at northern populated latitudes of New England.
Well, this has been found statistically to be a case, is that most of the people with serious COVID issues have vitamin D deficiencies. The most serious people with COVID issues have diabetes and hypertension and morbid obesity, and it's usually not their fault because they're so indigent. They're living in food deserts and they have no really decent. They have no groceries available to them.
That's not true. It hasn't decimated the homeless camps in America by any means.
Well, they're close. You know, the homeless camps. It's taken out the working class blacks and Latins real bad.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
You're talking shit, Tommy. You're talking this bullshit Black Lives Matter crap.
Well, actually, the people that have gotten hit the worst are the Navajo, and they're having a pretty bad Cheyenne River and Standing Rock right now. Let me get the stats for you.
Okay, tell me, when was the last time you went to the Navajo Nation?
I haven't been there. I mean, are you talking like on their website?
No, I'm talking about the fact that you live in Arizona and you've never gone up to Monument Valley or the Grand Canyon.
I haven't been up there since 1999. I haven't seen my friends in
Why not? Why don't
a
you
lot of reasons. I have no vehicle, and nobody will take me up there, or I would have done it years ago. I've only been back here for 7 years. For one thing, I'm living in the South. I'm living in Tejano and Apache land and Yaqui. That's the people that I connect with. I'm not anywhere near the Navajo right now. I'm on the other end of the state. Well, this is.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you were traveling. I thought you.
I haven't traveled. I got knocked off.
Tommy, I follow you.
Well, if you follow, what was your name again? Who am I talking to?
I don't have a name.
Well, how would you like me to think of you? Do you have any way you would like me to address you? I mean, I appreciate the respect and admiration and the lively argument. I'm going off of stats that I've seen, and the worst areas getting hit are inner city, underclass neighborhoods, and I don't know why the homeless encampments aren't getting it. The very worst, case rates and the seriousness of the case and the mortality rates are in the inner city neighborhoods.
Tell me, how do you not have an issue with this being turned around into like a woke Tuskegee thing?
Into a what?
How do you not realize how retarded this is? This is terrible.
What makes you think I don't? The wealthy are getting good health care and they have good nutrition, and the poor people don't, and they're getting fucking ravaged by it. If you can't see that, you're fucking blind.
We're getting humiliated. It's not only about not seeing it, it's seeing your own humiliation. That's what it's about.
Oh, well, it's, I don't know if you've been have you been reading any of the accounts of the ICU doctors and nurses sitting with their patients as they die? That's just horrifying. What's going on, and all these people.
The entire fucking medicinal industry is bullshit, Tommy.
Well, yes, I know that. Excuse me, I was a disciple of Dr. Robert Mendelssohn's. He was our family pediatrician. Shit. Constantly quoting Dr. Bob. Last thing I'm going to do is let him fucking stick me. I've been, from the very beginning, I've been, screaming about preventative medicine and about naturopathic therapies. There's all kinds of antiviral botanicals and minerals. I mean, they've shown that zinc is working, silver works.
Tommy, that is so naive. That is the pinnacle of naivete. You're pretending that being natural is going to save us. No, the thing that fucks us over is because everybody who has any sort of virus is going to get on a plane and spread it anywhere you are.
That's different. I'm talking about preventative medicine. I'm talking about immune system fortification.
Do you want to shut down the borders?
Actually, no. There's no because there's no sound medical reason to quarantine a healthy population. The lockdowns are overreach. They're unwarranted. They're unhealthy. and they're not like really doing anything. We need to, just stick to the proper public health precautions, fortify our immune systems, and use the masks and keep our distance and keep everything clean. And if you're in a high risk demographic, stay the fuck home and don't go running around all over the place unless you need to. And if you need to go from state to state or country to country, well, hey man, you're going to need to get tested. I mean, I can't argue with the need to quarantine carriers, but there's no excuse for quarantining a healthy population, and it's causing way too much collateral damage. There are communities that are more seriously harmed by the secondary effects than the virus itself. These smaller hospitals are unable to do anything. They have to keep they have no they're not doing anything that generates the money that usually like elective surgery. They're not doing any elective surgeries. A lot of people with ongoing things aren't getting it done, and they're dying. It's all fucked up. There's a totally wrong-headed response to this thing, and it's not really proven to my satisfaction that the fucking thing wasn't engineered.
Well, at this point, what difference would it make? Because
it's mutating like a bad dog.
Acknowledging that you are unwilling to close borders.
I don't think it's a realistic approach. I think that tightening up control of the borders and encouraging people not to travel it makes more sense to me.
Yes, and we in America would rather force people to submit their DNA at Walmart than they would to close down international travel of people. We're an empty whore. America.
It is so fucking convoluted, messed up. Everything about America, everything about the healthcare for profit industry is totally alien and unnatural technology that they're pushing on us. Jane Fonda said it the best, is that they're fucking making us pay them to kill us. Is what they're doing.
It's about humiliation. It's the ultimate humiliation.
Well, it's about population management. They know, and they've known for over 100 years, that their technology is not sustainable with growing populations. They need to reduce the population, and that's what they're trying to do right now. This is a genocidal fucking play. I'm not, like I said, I'm not convinced that the fucking thing was not released intentionally.
Well, first of all, it's not as deadly. If they really wanted to reduce population,
well, that's an interesting.
More lethal virus and had a lot more success than this, which is nothing but exposing.
Yes, but what if they only wanted to? What if they only wanted to kill the defective people?
That's bullshit.
Well, that's what it's doing. It's only killing, I mean, for the most part, it's only killing the elderly and the people with pre-existing conditions. Over 70% of the people who have died from COVID are over 70 years old.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I agree. If you're old, it fucks you over. Mm-hmm.
If you're old or you have a pre-existing condition, particularly hypertension, diabetes, and morbid obesity, which are all three conditions of poverty.
Tell me, as a Jewish person, how do you feel when you hear that old white people over the age of 70, whose lives could be disproportionately saved by vaccinating them first, how do you feel when they should be put down on the list against black and brown bodies?
Why don't you're gonna need to ask you're gonna have to ask Ezekiel Ram about that, or Ezekiel Emanuel about that one. He's on code. He's a fucking eugenicist that thinks that people over 75 should not get any kind of special attention to extend their lives. You know, I'm totally opposed. I am totally opposed to. Well, first of all, they're not Jews. Zionists are not Jews. That's not Judaism. I'm sorry. Just don't even try and go there with me. You cannot be loyal to the Hebrew faith and obedient to the mitzvahs and patriotic Zionist. It just doesn't fit. It's kind of too good. They're diametrically opposed. You cannot be a Jeffrey Epstein and call yourself a Jew. You cannot be a Sheldon Adelson and call yourself a Jew.
Jeffrey Epstein only exists because he served a function within the CIA military-industrial complex.
Right, and those people are not Jewish. They are Zionists. And Zionism is a construct of the Illuminati and Rothschild that originally entered into society through the apocalyptic Christians. You know, it started here in 1776, or wherever the fuck, Bavaria, in 1776. And it was...
Were the original apocalyptic Christians the Dead Sea Scrolls hermits, the Jews, or something?
I don't know much about. No, I'm talking about a rise in apocalyptic Christian thinking, the evangelical movement that they're tracing from 1776 and Adam Weishaupt.
What is the mountain that the Jews killed themselves for?
The who?
The mountain, Mahara. The mountain that all the Jews climbed up to kill themselves.
Oh, Masada, that's a bullshit story too. It's that's a myth. They didn't all commit suicide. It's a bunch of crap. I'll try and find that for you. You know, any specific question you have like that, I'll research. Send it to me, because I'll never remember if we're just talking about it in a stream. Send it to me. You know, anything you want me to clarify for you, I'll be glad to. Masada is one of those stinky Zionist fishtails. No, it's just didn't go down that way. After the Bar Kokhba rebellion failed, most of the Jews either left town or converted to Christianity. And there were hardly any Jews at all in Palestine until about 1500, when they all got booted out of the Iberian Peninsula by the Spanish crown and the Catholic Church. And the Caliph rescued about five.
Did a lot of Jews from Spain go to Israel?
Most, yeah. Well, because the Zionists don't want to tell you the truth about the history of our people. The Zionists are fucking Khazar corrupted. They're not Jewish anymore. There are Ashkenazi Jews that didn't lose the script. But anybody who's like got that Zionist mentality, that's been corrupted by the Khazarians in the 9th century. Fucking people never stopped doing their death magic rituals is what happened, and that got everybody else massacred and thrown out. And they're the ones.
It's funny how much of the Old Testament, goes back to like Sargon, like Sargon at the Akkad, like the story of the flood. The story of Sargon of Akkad was originally put in the basket, just like Moses was.
Oh well, there's no.
From Iraq, from Babylon.
There's so much overlap. There's so much overlap in the stories. It's hard to say what actually went down. The way my rabbi taught it was that everything had been in the oral tradition for too long before Moses actually wrote it down. But then, if
Of course, and then the Jews and say, "This is how it's always been."
yeah, well, the Jew was always a pejorative. It started in Babylon. The Judah, was Judah that backsliding, your stiff-necked and proud people and all that stuff. It's like they brought it on themselves by not obeying the mitzvahs. Say again?
Into Babylon?
The tribe of Judah is what led to the fall of the kingdom and the Babylonian exile. And Jew was what the Babylonians called all the Israelites to ridicule them.
And really, they were just another random tribe of people.
Pretty much, as far as I can tell, even when they ruled it, the Jerusalem, like I was starting to say before I got sidetracked, it had been there 1,000 years before Abraham showed up. The Jews only ruled it for twice, for a total of like 400 and something years. And there were like.
Do you actually believe that a person named Abraham walked up to a place?
As far as I know, the Torah.
It's just a story, Tommy. It's just a story.
Well, I don't. But I don't embrace that, because you're saying that my ancestors are liars.
They're not wrong. They're just irrelevant.
Well, that's also something that's not going to sit real well with me. It's not irrelevant. That, as near as I can tell, the Torah is a chronicle of the family of Adam. That the Jewish calendar starts 5,781 years ago with the family of Adam. And if you lay out the different characters in the Bible on a timeline, which you can do if you follow all the begats and the begots, you'll find that everything from Adam to Jesus lays out real neatly in the calendar that we use today. Whether they actually did the things that the Bible said they did is, like I was saying, is my rabbi said that the stories had been in the oral tradition too long, and you couldn't take them literally. You had to look at them for what was true and enduring in the moral lessons.
You will never pass up a chance to remind me of how the white people enslaved black people and killed the Native Americans.
I will. I'm going to remind you that the black people sold their own to other black people, who sold them to Arabs, who sold them to Jews and Dutch. Everybody's guilty, man. Everybody's guilty. Everybody's fucking guilty. I don't put things that simply. Everybody's fucking guilty of imperialism. Everybody's guilty of genocide. Everybody's guilty of mass murder. All that happy shit. They're all fucking guilty. Every last one of them. And it's been going on into antiquity. It's the same fucking people. And there are some authors that'll say that the same families have been playing, been great pirates, is what Buckminster Fuller called them. These guys had set up the traders.
That's the problem, Tommy. Tommy, the problem is that you're blaming the innate evil of life, the innate evil of human.
Humans are not innately evil, though.
On the Rothschilds, basically.
I'm not saying that humans are.
I'm sympathetic to.
I'm not saying that humans are innately evil. I'm saying that humans need to be trained to be evil, and there's a very small number of families that have been on this planet for thousands of years, training people how to be evil and commit mass murder against each other. I'm blaming on a very small number of people. I'm calling it the millionth of a percent. I believe that people are basically it's human nature to avoid conflict. We're the only animal that commits suicide. Okay, lemmings don't do that. That was made up by Disney. there are very few animals will murder another animal for no good reason. They usually don't even fight to the death over resources and mates. They usually just, duke it out a little bit and one of them gives up. Humans are the only ones that commit mass murder over the resources the way they do and create such long fucking supply lines and protect them with mass murder. Come on. All human society's fucked up. But it's because we're being farmed by a very small number of humans. And this has been going on.
Okay, farmed by whom and for what purpose?
Good question. I don't know. I can't say. All I can say is what I see. I'm looking at the conflict between a being called Yehovah and another one called Satan that starts in the book of Job, where it appears to me from my study of the scripture that Jah represents the king of the gods that you'll see all over everybody's shit, and the Satan is the lord of the underworld. And the conflict is over who gets to live on the surface of the world. Because it's a very special place, the interface. This is a very special planet. It's the water world. It's a ball of molten metal encased in a bubble of water. And
exactly, and your worldview presupposes that it's just magic that you can live on the world, and the world will give you things.
Well, it's not magic like that. It's just it's more like we understand the natural order of things, and the world is constantly producing all this abundance to use and share with each other and use to eat and play with. And that's a magic planet in that way, but it's not magic that makes it happen. We've quantified pretty much. This is this. Is there God or is there natural order? Well, what made it all start? It doesn't matter. What we see in the here and now has quantum characteristics of the way the matter and energy interact that we can measure and observe. And we've learned a lot about the way things work. And simply the military-industrial complex, the Zionists, the elite, the great pirates, whatever you want to call this, millions of %, has been leading humanity down fucking Pet Cemetery Road for thousands of years.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible not to see if you're thinking clearly for yourself. It's the same shit, different century. The only thing that's really changed.
War has always been a rich man's game.
Oh, absolutely. It's very profitable. Have you ever listened to Smedley Butler's speech? War is a racket.
No, I haven't. But
that's a must listen. That one and Dwight Eisenhower's farewell address also was one that you need to listen to. But there were numerous new millionaires made by World War I that Smedley was going off on before World War II started. And he's running off. He's talking about how all he was a hired thug for Wall Street, which is and this is 1938, I think it was 37, something like that. He gave a speech to a veterans association, and it's just gotten worse. The top billionaires this year since March have increased their net worth by $1 trillion. Wow.
Yeah, and then the fact that they passed a 1,500 page bill without reading it within an hour. It's a farce. It's so fucking clearly a farce.
Which bill was that? NDAA?
It's the new
Oh.
that just got passed.
You know, you've seen what they did with the NDAA? Fuckheads couldn't even, you know, 17 Democrats voted for the Bernie amendment because they couldn't shave a fucking dime off of Raytheon's bottom line. Assholes.
Oh, shit.
And then they go and elect Joe Biden. Then, you know, I mean, we had to do a lot of begging to get people to vote for Joe Biden. Let me tell you, we really had to do a lot of fucking begging. And well, dig this shit. They get Biden in there, and the first thing he does is hire a fucking Raytheon fucking board member to run the Pentagon.
Oh, but at least we all voted for Black Lives Matter.
Don't get me going on BLM, man. You know, I'm from the Black Liberation Movement, and I'm calling bullshit on them 3 fucking Marxist bitches.
What more fucking black liberation do black people need?
Well, you know, their whole posture, as far as I'm concerned, is fucking jive. You know, I'm a Black Panther supporter from way back, and you know, I have a whole lot of respect for Fred Hampton and his way of looking at it. Is that you can't fight racism with more racism, and you can't fight capitalism with black capitalism, and that's exactly what fucking them bitches at BLM are doing. And it's only to the credit of the local organizers.
No, Tommy, I disagree with that.
Look at all the fucking white shaming. Look at all the people screaming at white cafe patrons. This is fucking crazy, man. That you know, you don't make allies. You know, the Native Americans know, the leaders of the Native Americans, you don't blame all the white people for shit somebody else's ancestors did to yours hundreds of years ago. It's not productive.
As leaders of Native Americans, Tommy, do you want to know the horrible truth? The horrible truth is the fact that a lot of these leaders of Native American communities sold everything for 10 bottles of brandy.
You're misinformed. Offensively misinformed.
No, it's true.
You know, you're offensively misinformed. It's not.
Look it up. They're not the helpless, victimized population you imagine them to be. They have a history just like you have a history, just like everyone.
I think you're offensively misinformed on that one. I have been closely associated with the Native community for almost 40 years. I know what's up with that. A lot better than what you think, and it's not what you're saying. Yes, there's a horrible alcohol problem and drugs. They're having bad problem with methamphetamine on some of the reservations. But the big problem is in the human rights of the traditional people living according to traditional lifestyle, not being able to do it. And that's been an issue from the very beginning, because all those fucking things were prison camps to begin with. Now, the ones that have made the most money are ones like San Carlos, that have a couple of, you know, fat ass casinos going on them, and they knew how to invest their money into Anglo type development projects like their museum and their fucking university. While others like Rosebud and Pine Ridge, no, please, I know these people. I know Crazy Horse's descendants. Don't talk to me with that bullshit, because that's not what's going on.
It doesn't matter if you know Crazy Horse's descendants. That doesn't mean
I had one sing a fucking spirit ceremony, healing ceremony for me, dude. Excuse me. I've been in ceremony with these people.
That doesn't mean you're right, Tommy. That doesn't mean you're right.
I'm telling you that you're not speaking things that are real about the reservation situation, about the native governments. First of all, the you know, who's really in charge of the sovereign nations? The tribal council or the tribal government? And who are they? You know, what is the BIA to the native in a sweat lodge? He is the oppressor. He's the colonizer. The tribal governments are colonial constructs, and they're at odds constantly with the tribal councils.
I still bet you they'll get a lot of money from Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. I'd like to see Black Lives Matter is spending all their money on fucking publicity and lawyers, printing, media platforms, and lawyers.
That's what they all are.
Say what?
That's what they all are, Tommy.
Well, that you know.
They're here.
It's just a fucking bunch of egomaniacs making it's it's an ego thing about money and power. That's all they're about. It's fucking money and power. They just want a piece of their fucking pie. Defund the cops, abolish the cops. That's fucking absurd. Cops need to be remodeled, reorganized. There needs to be more civilian unarmed first responders for domestic disturbances. That's what the cops fucking need. You need to flush out all the fucking racists in all our military and police and reorganize it so that you don't have these fucking goon squad fucking carrying an M16 coming to the door when a couple's having an argument.
Tommy, do you feel that you experience the police as the goon squad because people are constantly calling the police on you?
It's a tool, it's a Karen tool. I haven't had that issue. I have to call the cops. I mean, the only people who have called the cops on me lately are pranks. And those were very ugly, tense scenes.
And those pranksters put your life in danger.
Yeah, sure did. But it also made me some serious friends in the local cops. I got a lot of respect out of that day. That's made a big difference a couple of times since then. But yeah, the whole cop thing needs to be restructured, but we can't do without the police. That's stupid. But the whole thing was based in racism. Everything that we need to completely restructure. And what I object to most about BLM is that they're making it like we're the only ones, when the fact of the matter is that all the underclasses of any race are impacted by this elitist political industrial fascism.
No, Tommy, no, that's not even accurate. The most accurate statement would be that
the Native Americans have had it worse.
Black people worship a criminal underclass.
Well, that's you're doing the same thing to black people that you just did to Jews. They don't.
Oh, I have no issue with the fact that there's some innocent people and blah blah blah.
No, that's that. I think I've had. Ross. I think you just upset my stomach completely, and I'm gonna need to say good night. Okay, thanks for the conversation. Call again sometime, but that's way too racist for me. Ciao. Anybody still here? Because I'm about done. Holy crap, look at this shit. Okay. Nachi, hello, how are you? Who is this caller? I have no fucking idea. Standing Rock is Sioux, not Navajo, correct. Mendelssohn Silver, what do you got going on? New strains in the I know. No, I didn't. They'd already set by the time I got outside. No, I didn't see it, and no, I'm not taking any calls right now. Hi, Salty Doggy. Germany was in the right in World War I. I don't know. Nobody was in the right, World War I, World War II, actually all of them. Every single fucking war. No, I'm serious, man. Don't make me block private numbers. Yes, I was at Rosebud. I was at Crow Dog Paradise when Chief Crow Dog Leonard sang the Wiki ceremony for me. I've never been to Pine Ridge. Rosebud is the only one. None of the others. I had a lot of friends that were at Standing Rock, and I supported Standing Rock from here. Seriously, I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. That last guy just really, like, I'm not sure where he was coming from, but it's, you know, when he's starting to say that all black people worship a criminal underclass, it's like, dude, that's ghetto niggers. And you know, as Chris Rock says, the niggers fuck it up for all the other black people. And the same thing with Jews and kikes, with Polish people and Polacks, and all, you know, that's what I was saying to him is, seriously, I don't want to talk to anybody. Anyway. Yes.
Hey, Tommy, this is G.G. Allen. You want to do some heroin?
Who?
G.G. Allen.
G.D. Allen. Hi, G.D. Allen. How are you tonight?
Let's shoot some heroin, you and me, Tommy.
I'm sorry. Say again, please.
Let's shoot some heroin, Tommy.
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Let's shoot up some dope.
I don't shoot up dope. I think I'm gonna smoke another joint. If anybody wants to ask me a question, it looks like I have nothing. I'm done. You know, I'm gonna just like turn off the phone and go to bed any minute now. Let's see what's going on at Facebook. I'm really pissed about what they did. What's fucking complimentary? Fucking crazy. Yeah, I got blocked on my public account tonight. No, I didn't see the Jupiter Saturn thing. I wanted to go and catch it, and by the time I got outside, it had already set. Apparently, here, you know, it depended on where you were, and here it was only up over the horizon for a short time before after sunset. Yeah, it was a very short time after sunset. By the time I didn't even realize that I was out there. It set by 7:30, I think it was. They were both already gone. Oh well. next time. I'm so filthy. Why am I know why I'm so filthy. Oh, but it's showtime. You know, I'm like really getting tired of the constant hammering that these people are doing with this lie. I never raped a child, and I don't fuck dogs. And the incident that they're distorting, the dog's been dead for 25 years, and the supposed alleged rape happened 40 years ago. It's just intellectual dishonesty. They have no rational arguments against what I'm saying, so they have to, character assassination is all it is, a smear campaign. I'm not going to play with it anymore. I'm not going to defend myself. Child rape is not funny. Child rape is not something I would do or ever did. And to accuse somebody of child rape that didn't is even less funny. And that's all I really have to say about it. So tell me, Nazi BS, you had something to do with the Japanese, the J-pop star Nazi? And well, I appreciate that. It's because it is bullshit. I'm not the kind of person. They're just trying to destroy my reputation. That's all. That's all. I'm just, I'm a hippie artist. I've been a gonzo journalist full time for the last 20 some odd years, and this is my studio. This is my life, and I have radical opinions about things, and I'm kind of funny. And yeah, I'm weird, but I'm not insane, and I'm not a sexual predator. Just plain and simple. And I don't think I need to go into detail anymore about why this is all bullshit, because too many people know me in person and have known me since before Facebook was even created. That's what happens. Albert Einstein pointed that out. I forgot, I can't quote it exactly, but several, the people don't understand what you're saying, who hate themselves, they're going to get angry with you. People who don't understand what you're saying that don't hate themselves are going to ask you for clarification. This has been the story of my life. Hi, Brian. How are you tonight? From the time I was a little kid, I always had to watch out how I spoke to people, because if I used too big of words or too complex a concept, they just get mad at me. That's okay. Here I am, 66, and I've got hundreds of friends who are just like me. Nerds that survived. We never, we're all fucking failures in some way. Never really amounted to much of anything, but just nerdy people that just like to be nice to each other and share. And I'm about educating and entertaining people, and that's all I really want back. I don't need money. Government pays my overhead. People are very generous with my art. Thanks, Nazi. It's just there's only a couple. You're either a nice person or you're not. You're either kind or you're mean. If you're mean and stupid, go hang out with mean and stupid people, okay? I don't want to have to argue with mean and stupid people. That's cool. Whatever you're into, whatever floats your boat. That's the nerd way. Is like, well, I'm not really into that, but I'd be glad to listen to you tell me about it. So it's like these fucking mean assholes. You tell them about something that they're not into, they're gonna like ridicule you for being into it. That's bullying. That's bullshit. The hippies like, well, you don't like it, don't look. If you're not having fun, don't make it unfun for whoever is having fun with it. That's not right. Because they make people make life too complex. The hippies. Jerry Garcia talked about how he just nobody wants to hurt anybody. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to like take over the world or anything like that. We just want to live a nice, uncluttered life. That things should be pleasant and useful. And if you're not happy, don't make everybody else unhappy. That's not right. No, go. It's fighting with somebody. Go watch a Star Trek episode. you know, and she let it be, and don't ruin it for somebody that if it's not good for you. It's all good. Everything's good. There's no good, better, or best. It's all good. Or bad, depending on how you want to look at it. Knock yourself out. I'm about to spark a stick. Let's go see what the idiots are up to. I really wasn't planning on staying up. I wanted to go to bed when the guy started calling. I really wanted to take a bath before I went to bed because I never get up and go straight to the shower. Idiot. Dr. Hugh G. Rexon. Fucking give me a hard time in private messages. I was like, okay, bye. I'm out of here. Ha ha ha. Yeah, we don't need to be looking at that shit. No. Ask questions. I really didn't get all that deep into it. Basic, you really don't need to get all into that. What I was telling the caller, the way my rabbi taught it was that the stories in the Torah had been in the oral tradition for way too long to take literally, but they all had meaning that was true and enduring through the ages that we were to try and understand and incorporate it into our own lives in the here and now. And there's, just things that are simple. What's so fucking hard about understanding the principle of loving everything, of not doing to other things what you wouldn't want done to yourself? What's so hard about that? And so many people just, it's more like do unto others before they do unto you, or give it back in kind. And that's not the golden rule. What about Buddhism? Buddhism isn't really a religion, so much as a philosophy. There's no ritual, except where they created it, like the Nichiren Shoshu. And really, when it comes down to it, a religion, churches, imperialist churches are just something that I don't like calling. I think it needs a different word. Because to me, religion is a set of values that our spirits use to guide our actions with our bodies. This is thought processes about how we need to respond to a stimulus in the environment. How do we feel about this thing that we're looking at? That, what are we going to do to it if we're going to do anything? This person, what are we going to do with them? What are they trying to do to us? These are the kinds of things that religion helps us to put some structure and order into. That our moral code, that's religion. But a church, an organized religion, is not a religion. Is an individual thing. That's your spirituality. And a church is a group of people who agree on the same set of moral standards. Mormons are a cult. They got some weird shit they do. And I don't really want to get into the Mormons because I don't know enough about it to be able to speak honestly. But Mormons, that's brand new shit that with a bunch of made up stuff. They're all immigrants. It's from 1800s. Is Mormons. But still, these are religions that train. Catholic Church is really awful. That's like not. I don't want to come down on Catholics per se, Catholics, but the church. Oh God! So that just that oh. Ash, I need. If people are going to get me talking about this kind of stuff, I'm going to need to do some studying for a little while, so I can be more specific about some of the shit that these imperialist churches have done over time to corrupt the thought processes of people. I think what I want to do is grab a John Trudell video for you to watch that can tell you a lot. This is an important thought. Where'd it go? This will tell you about.
Hi, I've got a few questions and comments at the Swiss Trust about the Backstrom chair. The vast majority.
So by the time Columbus got here, all right, let's look about.
See what here. Here's the link. This is really good. So it explains, the natives don't, BLM is just white shaming the fuck. I don't know about anything about the Swiss that I can speak openly about. The gnomes of Bern and all that kind of stuff. I've mainly been studying the Rothschild, Rockefeller, Morgan crowd, because I'm an American Jew and I want to know. These people are warmongers and running a perpetual war machine. Just exactly what the role of the Swiss and the Belgians. There's all of them. They were there were 13 European countries that divided up Africa in the 19th century. And it goes on today that some native nations were collaborated with the Europeans to conquer the other native nations. We look at the Rwanda and the Hutu and the Hutu and whatever the other ones committing genocide on each other. You look at the Rohingya and Myanmar. There's Buddhists that got all radicalized against the Muslim population. It's a very small number of people doing it, and they're not all white. It's not white. It's not all white people. And what it is this millionth of a percent that claims to have, own the real estate where the resources are located, that are setting up puppet governments and then playing both ends of the middle in times of war. They'll send them to war against each other and sell arms to both sides. That's what went down in Benghazi. With all that shit with Hillary Clinton when they killed the ambassadors. That was all over the arms market. What else? I don't know. It's interesting. It's oh boy. What was your sister doing in Rwanda? It won't let me show that. I wonder why it won't let me show it. It refuses to let me show that comment. This is error, so try again. It's got up in the middle of that shit. I've seen some really awful accounts. What's his name? Somebody wrote a novel about it. Elmore, I forget the guy's name. It's an interesting writer. Something about African babies, I think it was called. I'm sorry for your loss. Everybody's guilty of it. And it's really not human nature. It's something that's been trained into humans. We have no reason to be greedy because the earth is so full of abundance that but we clusterfuck, and then we fight over the resources, and that's just not working. And the planet's getting ready to kill us all. And I think on that note, I've had enough for one night. I was coming on bar time. I wanted to go to sleep before midnight. Thanks for coming, and I hope to see you guys soon. Again, I'll say I gotta clean up, come back out, get my girl on a little better for next time. No, seriously, thanks for coming. Happy day. Bye bye.